Hi, everyone. I'm Virginia Stanley.
Chris Connolly.
Lainey Mays.
And we're the library marketing department at HarperCollins Publishers. We're so excited to be here with you, though virtually, at the 11th National Conference of African American Librarians. We've got a lot of books here by authors of note. And if you see the link right there at the top of the screen, we've curated a list, hand-selected titles that we think will be of particular interest to you. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about those books and some housekeeping and some resources that are available to you.
And as Virginia mentioned, you can find the titles that we selected in the Edelweiss Catalog. The link is there in our booth. But if you want to see everything that HarperCollins has available as of right now, you can go to harperlibraryegalleys.com. That's harperlibraryegalleys.com. Or you can go to our blog, which we'll mention throughout this presentation, librarylovefest.com. All of our resources are available right there.
They're right here if you're looking on the screen. So you can find all of the catalogs there, but the curated list, like we've said, is at the top of our booth. And before we go into some of the other offerings we have that are not just titles, all of the resources, we wanted to tell you how to be whitelisted for eGalleys. You're going to hear about some great books. You're going to want to know how to get them, and to do that, all of the information is on our blog as well, so you can click that. But you just need to send us an email, librarylovefest@harpercollins.com, and tell us what library you're at, and tell us what platform, so Edelweiss or NetGalley, and what email is associated, and we will get you all set up so you can get some eGalleys.
And when you do that, as long as you're at a library, you can vote for Library Reads, and you can find out all the information on Library Love Fest about how to have your voice heard and vote for books that you feel should be on the Library Reads monthly list. So that's that. Now, do we have our door-to-door? Do you see our door-to-door tile there? Well, we're excited about this because it's a weekly show that we put on, and it's on Facebook Live, and we are usually talking to an author or two, or the three of us are talking to each other about books that we're loving. And it's typically books that are coming out, nothing that's out, because we want to give you the heads up on books that are coming out in the months ahead. So that's every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Facebook Live. If you're not on Facebook, we put those episodes right up on our YouTube page. So if you go to on our YouTube channel, so you can go there and watch the episode. But we hope that you can check us out, like us on Facebook, and you'll get information on when the next episode will be. But it's every Tuesday, 2 o'clock. Sometimes we have an Embarrassment of Riches, and we have another show on that Thursday the same week. So we have a lot of fun. We hope you can join us.
Yes. Also weekly, we have a podcast, so available anywhere you get your podcasts, but you can go very easily to SoundCloud and type in Library Love Fest and find us there. One episode we wanted to highlight that was really wonderful. We do a series called Editors Unedited. So authors speak to their editors and give us a little inside peek into that process. And we had an editor speak with Adam Harris, who wrote The State Must Provide, and it's all about the history of HBCUs and all of the history behind it and where they're going and how the state can help. And so that's a really great episode, and that is featured on our page. So I hope you go check that out.
And then more exciting news, we will be re-releasing 4 books by Stacey Abrams, writing as Selena Montgomery, through September, October, November, and December. If you weren't aware, not only is Stacey Abrams a national leader, she's also an acclaimed best-selling author. And we have 4 novels of romantic suspense that we'll be re-releasing in trade paperback. Hidden Sins in September, Secrets and Lies in October, Reckless in November, and then finally Deception in December. So we're really excited to be re-releasing these to the public, and keep your eyes peeled. Those will be available all over.
And really exciting news, more exciting news. And last month, June 2021, HarperCollins Publishers announced that it had become the official publisher of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s archives. which includes some of the most historically important and vital literature in American history. We've had a long history with Dr. King. We published his first book, Stride Toward Freedom, the Montgomery Story, back in 1958. And we went on to publish several more titles from Dr. King, including the landmark Strength to Love. And so we are now the publisher, the official publisher of all of the archives, which includes children's books, ebooks, audiobooks, journals, and graphic novels in all languages. This is an exciting, it's historic, really, and we're honored and thrilled to be the publisher of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s archives. So you can find the official announcement in the resources. We've included that there so you can see for yourself and read a little bit more about the estate of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I think we have covered all of the resources, and I think we want to talk about a couple of books. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm going to bring up the catalog. Like we said, it's at the top of our booth, and so you can go see all of these. But we're going to start with this one.
Okay. This is Social Justice Parenting, How to Raise Compassionate, Anti-Racist, Justice-Minded Kids in an Unjust World. And this is by Dr. Tracy Baxley, who has 30 years of experience, knows what she writes. This book is coming out in October. It's the first book from Dr. Baxley, who is a diversity and inclusion educator. As I say, she's got more than 30 years experience, and it's a practical guide for raising compassionate, anti-racist, socially conscious children. So when the global pandemic shut down in-class learning, parents were confronted in ways that they had never been before to explain complex issues like the murder of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Dr. Baxley herself is the mother of 5 biracial children, and she suggests in her book that parenting itself can be a form of activism. So she encourages parents to start by acknowledging their influence and confronting their embedded biases. And then she offers actionable advice. This book is a real toolbox. There's real hard, specific things that parents can do with their kids to make them better people in this world. She has seen white people who want to do for the work of anti-racism, but know that they have to do a better job of educating themselves and their children. And she's seen parents of color, particularly Black parents, who want to know what more they can do to keep their children safe. I love this quote where she says, "It's as much about keeping my children safe as it is about giving other moms and dads the tools to empower their children. As a mother of color, I know I can't protect my children alone. They will need allies as they grow, and social justice parenting is the toolkit that they need." I could go on and on about this. There's wonderful quotes, wonderful raves about this book. Just a couple of things, just some bullets, just to give you an idea of what this book is like. Why parents can't opt out of the race conversation and why it's never too early to start in an age-appropriate way. And it offers suggestions and conversation prompts for how to do so. Why parents must talk about the various degrees of privilege and acknowledge that it exists while unpacking their own childhood experience with race and privilege. This is a very honest book. It's really sort of, just peeling back all the layers so parents can face their own bias and, just face things head on with their children. Don't sweep it under the rug. That's not working. This is a different way that activism can look for ideas for kid-friendly activities and activism. How to turn your child into an activist, or it's a combination of being empathetic and also prescriptive. And it's just a wonderful toolbox, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So that's Social Justice Parenting by Dr. Tracy Baxley.
Okay, I'm so excited to talk to you all about The Memory Librarian by Janelle Monáe. So this is building off the story that was set forth with her acclaimed third LP, Dirty Computer. And so Janelle is, of course, a visionary songwriter, fashion icon, activist, she's a superstar. She's so talented and so creative. And what she's doing here, she is taking the story that she set down in Dirty Computer, the story of this near future totalitarian government who basically controls the thoughts and can even delete the thoughts of the people who are inhabiting this society. So it's this kind of, dystopian vision of how do you find your own individuality amongst, this reigning power. So she, along with 5 BIPOC authors, visionary authors, are going to expand that world and tell these short stories that, really delve into identity, into race, into sexuality. I love this quote from Janelle Monáe. She says, "As a reader and a writer of science fiction since childhood, it is a dream to have the opportunity to expand Dirty Computer into a literary project. Writers, Black, queer, and genderqueer writers are at the forefront of pushing the creative boundaries of sci-fi and speculative storytelling. I'm honored to be collaborating with a new generation of creators as we expand this tale." So, this is going to be a visionary project from, again, just an incredibly talented group of people. And I just can't wait to see it to publication. This is coming April 19th. So this is going to be a huge book for us. I can't understate it's an important visionary project, and I'm really excited to see more.
So next we want to talk about a book we're all three very excited about. So this is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris. It's coming out in November. And this is our lead read for the season, which if you don't know what that is, that's a program that the HarperCollins sales force is going to get behind one book for a season. So we vote and we put it to a vote, and this one, and I don't know another book that deserves it more. This is such an incredible debut. It's fast paced and just a story that you can't put down. So this is about corporate lawyer Elise Littlejohn. She seemingly has it all. She has this Ivy League law degree. She's got a well-paying job as a corporate attorney in Midtown Atlanta. That's where it's set. And she kind of has a relationship on the side with a rich, charming executive who happens to be her boss, who happens to also be found dead. I'm not giving anything away. First few pages, she walks in for a meeting and he is dead. Someone has killed him in their office. Instead of calling the police, she has a little bit of an interesting past, which you get to in the book. There's really beautiful scenes that go back and forth between when she was younger and present day. Because of all of that, all these secrets that she's trying to suppress, she doesn't want to come out. She decides instead to run away and not call the police. And she thinks that might protect her, but now the police are knocking on her door. They're thinking she might have something to do with it, or at least not all that she's telling them. And she is quickly moved up the ladder to replace her boss, and she becomes one of the only Black people in the room, but also one of the only women in the room. So she is there for conversations that she doesn't really feel comfortable with all of the way, and they're not really taking her into consideration. She sees that maybe it's a little bit of a tokenism thing, and as she moves up this ladder, you see her life just kind of unravel in some ways, because she's got to keep all these secrets from her past, and also now she has new secrets from this new part of her place in the company. And so it's just really her trying to figure out what's going on in the present, what happened in the past, and trying to suppress that and protect it. And she's gotten so many amazing quotes. Like, I can't even read them all. It would take all day. The quotes come in like every second. She made a really great Spotify playlist, the author did. So if you want to get in the headspace of this book, you can just go to Spotify and type in All Her Little Secrets. Super fun. Karen Slaughter gave it an amazing quote saying, "Brilliantly nuanced but powerhouse exploration of race and the legal system and the crushing pressure of keeping secrets. Morris brings a vibrant and welcome new voice to the thriller space." What a crazy great quote. We all absolutely love this book, and we love this author, and for it to be a debut is insane. So we're really hoping and encouraging everyone to pick this one up, because you're not going to regret it.
That is so true. Everything Lainey just said. Such a great book. Such a page turner. There's no good place to stop. It's just so wonderful. And when a book is selected by a bunch of seasoned sales reps as the lead read, you know that that's the proof in the pudding right there. Okay, the book that I'm going to talk about next is The Great Mrs Elias by Barbara Chase Rabode, which comes out in February of 2022. Barbara Chase Rabode is a celebrated poet, novelist, and sculptor. She's been edited by Toni Morrison and Jacqueline Onassis. She's the author of the iconic best-selling historical novel, Sally Hemings, and now she returns with another groundbreaking work of historical fiction about one of the richest women in the early 20th century. This is the true story of Hannah Elias, who was one of the first Black millionaires. She was light-skinned and she was born at the end of slavery. She secretly married a white man. They later divorced. She invested her alimony in the stock market. She passed as a Southern European and she used a series of white men to invest for her, ultimately living in opulence on Central Park. And when I tell you opulence, I'm talking this glitzy 5-story, 20-room mansion. But when an old lover murders her current partner, her secret life becomes public, and she is hounded by both the press and mobs of white protesters who accuse her of stealing the wealth of the whites. This is a page turner filled with Gilded Age glamour, suspense, real-life characters, and an immersive period feel that captures the texture of a changing New York. This is book club catnip. It's a mesmerizing novel swirling with atmosphere, steeped in history, and it's been a while since her book Sally Hemings came out, but it was worth the wait. So we're really excited to have The Great Mrs Elias by Barbara Chase Rabode coming out in February of 2022. It's a big deal for us.
Okay, and it's my pleasure to talk about Of Blood and Sweat, Black Lives in the Making of White Power and Wealth by Clyde W. Ford. Clyde is such a fantastic author. He's the author of 10 works of fiction and nonfiction, most recently Think Black. And this is a deep dive, deeply researched look at major American industries, whether it's agriculture, politics, law enforcement, medicine, the list goes on. And what he's doing is looking at these industries going back all the way to pre-colonial Africa through post-Civil War America, and seeing how integral these industries were, how they were built by Black Americans, and oftentimes how they were then used to suppress them. So he's, going through the history of each of these industries, the incredibly valuable contributions, just irreplaceable contributions by Black Americans, and again, how they were subsequently suppressed and really separated from the wealth that these industries generated for America. So, it's a pulling back the curtain on many of the things that allow America to function as it is in its place in the world. And I think it's going to be a very eye-opening expose on, what it is to be American, and again, why we find ourselves in the places we do today. And whether it's a Black Lives Matter movement, again, we mentioned George Floyd. So many of these things, again, are having people ask questions that need to be asked. And I think there's no one better to do that than Clyde Ford. So this is going to be a very important publication for us. It's coming April 5th of next year, 2022. So I'm very, very excited for this to come to publication, for people to get to read and talk about everything that he has discovered. So that's Of Blood and Sweat by Clyde W. Ford.
And then last, we want to talk about You Don't Know Us Negroes and Other Essays by Zora Neale Hurston. Zora lives on. Barracoon was the last book that was about the man she interviewed on the last slave ship. And that was just an amazing nonfiction work. And it hit the New York Times list. And everyone's just so hungry for more from her. And she's one of the most acclaimed artists of the Harlem Renaissance. And this book is just an anthology of all of her 3 decades of work. And it showcases her development as a writer, from her early pieces on the beauty and precision of African-American art to some of her final finished works, including some of Barracoon that I just mentioned. There's even her work covering the sensational trial of Ruby McCollum, the wealthy Black woman convicted in 1952 for killing a white doctor. Among the selections are Hurston's well-known works as well as other stuff you may not have seen. So there's a good mix in there. And it covers the range of topics, like I said, but there's also, many things in politics, race and gender. She's really big on folklore, and so there's a lot of the study of that, especially at the height of the Harlem Renaissance, and it even goes into the early years of the civil rights movement. It's going to just be an invaluable chronicle of this writer's work and development, and a window into that time and space that she was writing. And there's, as you can see, that great introduction that is going to be included. And from the intro of this book, I think it talks a lot about how she was really famous for saying that historically in fiction, African Americans represented are very two-dimensional, but that's just it. It's fiction. They're not two-dimensional. And a lot of it was used as this kind of war against white supremacy. How can they mold them into somebody that they need for this work of literature? And so this is a way to show multifaceted people and multifaceted people doing multifaceted things in history. And so we're very excited for this book, and this is going to be a very special piece. So I hope, and that comes out in January.
We have quite the embarrassment of riches here. Zora Neale Hurston, Martin Luther King, Stacey Abrams, and all of these new books that are coming out, some that are repeat authors and some great fiction and some great nonfiction. And we hope that you take the time to look at the titles that we've picked out for you, because we think, we spent a lot of time picking out the titles that we really think will resonate and have meaning. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please reach out. Our information is all right there. And we hope to see you on our Facebook Live door-to-door programs every Tuesday. And get whitelisted, get those galleys, and we'd love to have you read them. We'd love to have you vote for Library Reads. We'd love to have you check out the podcasts. Any way that we can bring our books and authors to you, that's what we want to do. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference, and take good care. Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.